الرحمن الرحيم. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير. ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير. وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم إلى يوم الدين. Surah Al-Mulk was revealed in Mecca, and as most commonly known, that the surahs that was revealed in Mecca, the emphasis of it is actually in recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why the main theme of the surah is centered around recognizing Allah's supreme authority. How you are going to recognize Allah's supreme authority? Through reflection on the creation, through recognizing how weak we are as a human being, and then also through understanding the consequences of whatever accepting Allah's guidance or rejecting it. So these are the main emphasis of this surah. And the surah starts with تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. Blessed be he in whose hand is the dominion. بيده الملك, in whose hand is the dominion. And he is able to do everything. وهو على كل شيء قدير. This word تبارك, which in general would translate it blessed be, but actually it has much vaster meaning than this. It means, it conveys the word tabarak, that the vastness of Allah's goodness, and also the limitless or the infinite power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the perfection of his attributes. And then also, that's why you find in the word tabarak a combination of the meaning of like a tasbih which exalting Allah from everything. And also the taqdees, which means Allah is a perfection, all his attribute, perfection of his attribute. So you find out in just one word, there is so many attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala embedded into it, in the single word. And then recognizing that, yes, all of the dominion, because we're saying Allah, his power is infinite, his knowledge is infinite, he is perfect in everything. And, he has to be exalted above anything, and he controls everything. So that in just one verse, it summarizes almost all of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why it recognizes whom are you talking about? Who is sending you this message? And who is giving these commands to you? It's because unless you accept it, you believe in this, you will never follow the command. And that's why I said my problem, and I probably have not been taught this way. We don't focus in teaching our kids on the fundamentals of religion, which is the reason why Allah revealed this Quran. Allah revealed this Quran for a primary reason, to know him. And then give us some guidance, about certain things, ritual and so on we have to do, because morality should be common. Allah created in everyone the sense of morality, whoever he believe or don't believe. But Allah wants to do things. He said, one, here is whom I am, and then I'll give you a certain ritual that you have to do to help you correct yourself, and stay in the right path. Now, when I ask this several times, what is the first thing that we teach our kids? Prayer. Is a prayer has any knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or a ritual to make us connect to somebody whom we don't know? And this is why the first thing you do in the first 6, 7 years in the kid, before you ask them to pray, make it for them, you have to teach them about Allah, about the creation. Take him outside and look him, because they said, when you learn something at a young age, it ingrained in your brain. So when the kids, and I said so many times, when we discuss the Surat Luqman, one page in the Quran teaching the strategy of teaching the kids. The first one, Luqman was teaching his kids about Allah and his creation and why he's creating everything and why, associating anything with him is injustice. And in order to teach a kid about Allah, what? You have to take him outside. You have to look at the stars. You have to look at the trees. You study with him a little bit biology. Even you look about plants. I mean, if you really think about it, teach a child, if I put a seed here, let's plant a seed in the ground. We get, dig it out and put it in. And now the seed, the stem started coming out. Take the seed and try to push it back in. Wouldn't go in. How come this flimsy stem, or even the flimsier, even root, can penetrate the soil, which we need a shovel to dig it up? How it come? Who made it happen? I mean, that is all, creation. Then if you want, you can look, in the Quran and say, did Allah give us a hint about this from this knowledge? And Allah says, yeah, when you put water on the ground, there is going to be a vibration and expansion. فاهتزت وربت. And then when you take the kid now at the even younger age, I say, wait a minute, when I put water in, does it shake? Then you look and study it a little bit, you find out when you put water in, there is a micro earthquake that happened in the soil. And then it expands, and that's why the stem can come out. Who did this? Did we do it? Who set the rules, these rules? So when the kids learn this, then you come and tell him, the kid wants to know who is Allah, then what's his attributes. Then you look to Surah Luqman and you tell him, Allahu latifun khabir. Allah is so kind, he's so gentle, and he knows everything. So the kid probably will be scared and says, well, how is he watching me all the time? He said, yeah, Allah is watching you all the time. If I do something wrong, he's going to hold me account. He said, no, Allah is watching you to protect you. He's a latif, he's kind. So the kids now have learned two things. Have taught who is he, this supreme being, and then he taught that his character is this gentleness and watching and interest in him. Then if he asked, he said, how can I speak to him? Then he said, you go to the prayer. That is when and therefore the kid will be himself rushing to the prayer. But what we do, we force our kids to pray. Even at older age, we cannot visualize that we speak into Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we get distracted and our brain wanders around. But if we have focused in teaching the kid the basics, as Allah described it in the Quran, and I said, subhanallah, and it's not complicated. I said, it's just one page. And Allah told us this man is a wise man, and he was teaching his kids. So here is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasize this issue about who is Allah. Because if we don't know who is Allah, forget it. You see all of the deviation that Muslims have. Now, are those people truly believe that Allah is supreme? Or everybody else is supreme? The action, yeah, you can claim it, but what is your action? Then Allah comes in and they give us a reality of his power. He said, الذي خلق الموت والحياة. What is the nature of your life? Allah have created life. Actually, no, Allah created this and he created life. Why? So you can test you who is the best indeed. So your life here in earth intended for a test. It's almost like your life when you were in the university. is to study and be tested in this life on earth for us to act upon the commands of Allah and be tested. In the university, we study what the teacher, professor teach, and we be tested what he teach us. At the end of the day, we pass or we fail. So here is the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, He created this and He created life. And everybody knew life and everybody knew this. Everybody knew that he's going to die someday. This is the reality of it. But since this life is a test, then if you test it with something good or some bad, why you would be upset? It's a test. It's like, the professor gave a test. And when the professor gave a test, if the test is easy, everybody will pass. But if the test is hard, the good kid will like it more than the bad kid. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests everyone according to his capability. So your test might be, there's not cheating here. I'm not going to look at your test and say, I'll do like him. No, everybody will have been tested according to his capability. Your test will depend on the circumstances and your level of intelligence, the resources you have, and the poor guy, the other person will have a test, suitable for him. But in end of the day, you circulate between two things. If your test was something good, you should be grateful for Allah subhanahu. If testing is something that you feel is harmful to you or bad, then in that case you should be patient because you said, yeah, Allah is testing me with a hard question, giving me a hard condition, so I can elevate to see if I pass it or not. So I can elevate my status. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ has this hadith that how wonderful is the matter of the believer, and this is only unique for him. All his matter is good. If he was tested, with something good, he was grateful to Allah, and if he is with something harmful to him, he have patience, and that's good for him. So we circulate between gratitude and patience all our life. Then and therefore you find people tested in many things, frankly. The other one, which is an interesting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say He created this. We think that this is a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here is a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, after people get judged, everybody get judged and completed, and those people is going to go to heaven, some people is going to go to hell. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of the one who's going to go to the paradise and not from those other people. Then the hadith says, and then they will brought them a white colored ram. A ram, came in and will ask the people from paradise, do you know who is this? What is this? That ram, an animal. And they will say, yeah, we know him. He said, what it is? He said, that's this. And they looked to the people in hell and said, do you know what is this? And they said, yeah, it is this. Then the ram will be slaughtered. And then it will be said to them, O people of paradise, it's eternal, no this after this. O people of hell, there is no this after this. Now, sometimes you wonder and say, okay, what is that this is entity is something that created? This is not that this here is not the angel of this, it's that this itself. And you wonder sometimes, you said, how can this be become a physical entity? But if we accept this, that when Allah will judge us, what is going to happen to our good deeds and bad deeds? Isn't to put in a scale? Okay, if it's a scale, that means what? It's going to convert it into some materialistic things to be weighed. So when we look at this, there's not, obviously we cannot visualize it, but at least, it shows that yes, it could be that this could be a creation from Allah as a physical entity. Our deeds are basically changed into something physical that can be weighed and so on. But the end of the day, this is a reality. The end of the day, there's going to be eternity. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, you are going to die and it's going to be a judgment for you. Then the surah continued to give us to say, emphasize again who is Allah, because there is no only way for people to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to study the universe. This is the trouble with it. That's why I'm saying it, it will not bother me, but I'm really surprised that Muslims should be the super scientist in every discipline. because that is the only way they will know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, know his creation, know his laws, his rules. You cannot understand the wisdom and the power and the knowledge of Allah subhanahu if you don't understand his creation. And therefore Allah emphasizes it in so many in the Quran, and this is supposed to give you a hint to study, and I said this many times, but it's worth repeating. The Quran has two things in it. One thing in it is about that work good for teaching the kids in a younger age to develop their cognitive capacity. All of the direction that Allah put in science, in history, in astronomy, and all of these things are intended to be challenged the kid during reading the Quran, understanding, to search for it. Here is one ayah. الذي خلق سبع سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت. Allah subhanahu have created 7 heavens above each other, and you see no flaws from the creation of Ar-Rahman. فارجع البصر, look again. هل ترى من فطور? Look again. Do you see any fault in these universes, in these 7 heavens? Wait a minute. Do you see the 7 heavens?
Yeah, the 7 heavens.
No, you see it. No, Allah subhanahu say, look to see is there is any fault on them. And then Allah come and say, ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إلى. Look again and again. You will see no fault in the creation that I made. This does not mean you cannot understand this by reading the verse. This needs a super astronomist to study the universe. So when you study this with your child, encourage him. Let us look. Let us study what other people have done. Does this give you a command? Should you do or don't? No. But why? Because it will get the person to excel in certain subject. And look at many things in this regard. Why? Because that is how you can really recognize who is the creator. And this is why Allah subhanahu says in the Quran, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءُ. That only the scientists can fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because they know who's Allah. Not by reading the verse in the Quran. The verse in the Quran lead you to do this. But you come and say, well, you're so old now, am I going to go back and study astronomy and physics and biology and so on? No. I'm saying that's why people sometimes come and ask, I said, until 40 years, and I think we have a doctor sitting here, so we can probably validate it, that the neural cells in your brain, that's when the maximum growth happens, within that early age. After 40, it slows down. So whatever level of intelligence you have in your brain is already, start coming down, actually. So after 40 years, what I focus, the ayat that you focus in is what Allah wants me to do. What those people who are successful, those who Allah described that He is going to give to send the paradise. What do they do? Because I want to do like them. So you focus in these ayat, and these ayat are very clear in any language. It is not complicated. When Allah subhanahu say, oh, the muttaqeen, let the believer, the successful believer are doing this and this and this. Then it's a list. You can say, okay, am I doing all of these things that Allah saying this is the attributes of the successful believer or not? So that's your focus. Before that, with study with the kids in a younger age, you should challenge them. Yes, they might not get the answer, but at least it will excite them to think about what is happening and to study. And when they go to school, they don't become the C's and B's, but they become the A pluses because they studying it as a part of the religion. When you ask a kid who's memorize the Quran and doing everything, I said, "How are you doing in school?" He said, half. I said, why half? Allah gifted you with a brain, and obviously because you're able to memorize the Quran, that means you have a special intelligence. How come when you study the chemistry or biology, you're just getting a C's and B's? Why you are doing it? Isn't that part of the religion? So So anyway, so Allah subhanahu putting this for us to know what to do this. And I put a picture here, which they actually people give with now this, cosmological model for the seven universes and multi-universe and so on. The question we look at it, oh subhanallah, look, Allah said seven, and here is the seven. The picture has seven universes. Where were you then for 1400 years? Well, the verses in front of you, why didn't drive you to do a little bit study to find the, out? Then Allah subhanahu emphasized other things too, to show all of this, emphasize this power and the marvel of creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah talk about the birds, Didn't you see the birds above you? أولم يروا إلى الطير فوقهم صافات ويقبضن ما يمسكهن إلا الرحمن. Look at the birds, they spreading their wing and folding them. Nobody holds them but the Rahman. How Allah hold them? There is rules that Allah established. So you study then why the birds fly. And sometimes the bird hold their wings and stop. They don't flutter all the time. What's happening in this case? Or glide in there. And actually early Muslim did it by looking at the person wants to learn how to fly, to try to develop this. But that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, look at this. And what we do when we invent something, we try to imitate, something. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also comes in and remind that, he have and said, look, I give you, your means of survival is water. Who bring you water? I can take it away from any time. And therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قل أرأيتم إن أصبح ماءكم غورا فمن يأتيكم بماء. And then you see if your water will sink in the ground and would not come on the surface, who is going to bring it to you, this flowing water to you, to survive? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I created in you the faculties that to let you know this, but you are not even grateful to it because you are not using it to know me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أنشأكم. He is the one who created you. وَجَعَلَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ. I give you 3 tools, but you are not grateful. You're wasting them. And what is the tools? He have given you the hearing, the ability to hear. I give you the sight, and I give you the intellect. Why you're not using it to reflect in all what I have telling you? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I don't, remember, you cannot hide from me. Even your inner thought, I know it. So I'm holding you accountable for your action, but you better recognize that I know what you're thinking too. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَسِرُّوا قَوْلَكُمْ أَوْ جَهْرُوا بِهِ. Okay, make your words open or secret. It doesn't really matter. إِنَّهُ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ. I know what you are actually hiding in, even in your heart. أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. Do you think Allah doesn't know? And He's the one who created everything. Do you think you are going to hide with Him, with your secret plans or secret thought? No. So then obviously after this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have to give, a warning, to the people who all of this doesn't, impact them. And this is why the surah, actually, if you ignore all of the understanding who is Allah, ignore the blessing that Allah, providing you, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, okay, protect yourself. Can you protect yourself? And this is why I make this rhetorical, basically a rhetorical question. He said, can you protect yourself if Allah to choose to destroy you? Can we protect ourselves if Allah wants to destroy us? Nothing, Frank. وَأَمِنْتُم مَّنْ فِي السَّمَاءِ أَنْ يَخْسِفَ بِكُمُ الْأَرْضَ فَإِذَا هِيَ تَمُورُ. Are you really feel secure that the one who is in the heaven can cause the earth to swallow you, can make subsidence in the earth? Can you imagine? This earth is stable because of Allah. If this earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it subside, we all be dead in this place. And sometimes you see this, you see suddenly the earth just sink and the houses and everything is sink. And that's why sometimes you look frankly at older civilization and you say, where is even the things that they have produced? Like, who is the greatest king? That Allah provided him with resources and kingdom nobody has. Sulaiman, where is his palaces? Where is his stuff that he built there? All of the things. It could be underground. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, okay, what is this? Or Allah, if he doesn't sink the earth, he could have sent a storm of stones to you to kill you too. Can you protect yourself from this one? And then the surah comes and said, the end of the day, everyone is responsible for himself. Yes. قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ. You are now here talking about the Prophet and talking to us. In the sense, you are guiding people to the truth. You're guiding your children, you're guiding your friends, and so on. قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ إِنْ أَهْلَكَنَا اللَّهُ وَمَنْ مَعِي أو من معي أو من رحمنا فمن يجير الكافرين من عذاب أليم. Okay, if Allah will destroy me and all those who with me, okay, we are the believer. If Allah decides to destroy me and everybody, who is going to protect you? Okay, okay, are you guaranteed the protection? If you're complaining, about us, من يجير الكافرين من عذاب, who is going to protect you from the hellfire? قل هو الرحمن آمنا. Then declare your belief. He is the Rahman, that we believe in him, and upon him we rely. Soon you will know who is the creator, who is correct and he is wrong. قل أرأيتم إن أصبح. Then Allah, interesting, Allah ends but also with the water again, because everybody knows that the water is the means of survival. قل أرأيتم إن أصبح ماؤكم غورا فمن يأتيكم بماء معين. Then tell me, if all your water was to sink in the earth, who could bring it back, a flowing water for you? اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت فإنك يا ربنا تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم اكفنا بحلالك عن حرامك وبطاعتك عن معصيتك وفضلك عمن سواك. اللهم فضلك ورحمتك عليك الحق والدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وعز المسلمين يا أكرم الأكرمين. Oh Allah, spread your mercy upon us. Shower us with your blessings. Increase our knowledge. Grant us forgiveness and reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who have passed away. Oh Allah, grant them your mercy. Make their graves a garden from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, we have many of our friends and relatives who are sick. We have our son Ma'raj, our daughter Aisha Wani, and many others. Oh Allah, grant to all of them full and speedy recovery. Oh Allah, guide our children, protect them, and make them righteous. Oh Allah, grant us the power and the ability that we may be grateful for the favor that you have bestowed upon us and our parent, and that we may do righteous deeds that are pleasing to you. Oh Allah, we seek from you all of the good, whether we know it or we don't. And we seek your refuge from all evil, whether we know it or we don't. Oh Allah, we have many of our brethren who are under oppression. Oh Allah, heal their trauma, protect their helpless, and grant them peace and prosperities. Oh Allah, we ask you every name you have elected for yourself, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weaknesses have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.